Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained, guilty, confused, or somehow like everything was your fault? That feeling is not random. Some people do not just disagree with you, they slowly train you to doubt yourself. The dangerous part is that toxic people do not always look toxic at first. Sometimes they are charming, funny, familiar, or even someone you love. But learning how to deal with toxic people is one of the most important steps in protecting your peace, your confidence, and your emotional health. Dealing with toxic people is difficult because most of them do not openly admit that they are harmful. Instead, they make small comments that cause you to question yourself. They may apologize but repeat the same behavior. They may say they care about you, yet every interaction leaves you feeling smaller. They may turn your boundaries into an argument. Over time, you may begin asking yourself, am I too sensitive? Am I overreacting? Is it me? When a relationship constantly makes you doubt your reality, that is often a sign that something is wrong. The first thing to understand is that you cannot heal someone who benefits from staying the same. Many people waste years trying to explain basic respect to someone who already knows what they are doing. You may explain your feelings, give examples, stay calm, and try to communicate in every possible way, but nothing changes. The reason is simple. Some people are not confused. They are comfortable. They are comfortable blaming you, crossing your boundaries, taking your energy, and making you responsible for their emotions. Instead of asking, how do I make them understand? You have to start asking, what do I need to do now that I understand? Now, another important lesson is to believe patterns, not promises. Toxic people often know exactly what to say when they feel you pulling away. They may promise to change, tell you that you are overthinking, or make you feel guilty for being hurt. However, an apology without changed behavior is only manipulation with better wording. Anyone can be kind for a day, and anyone can apologize when they are afraid of losing access to you. What matters is what they do after the conversation is over. If the same behavior keeps happening again and again, then the pattern is telling you the truth. Toxic relationships often operate in cycles. The person hurts you, you react, they apologize, you forgive them, and things seem better for a short time. Then the same problem happens again. Each time the cycle repeats, you lose a little more trust in yourself. This is why it is dangerous to stay loyal to someone's potential while ignoring their pattern. Potential is who they could be, but pattern is who they keep choosing to be. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to deal with toxic people. A boundary is not a long speech, a debate, or a court case where you have to prove why you deserve respect. A boundary simply says, this is what I will accept, and this is what I will do if it continues. For example, you might say, I am not going to continue this conversation if you keep insulting me. Or, if you raise your voice, I am going to leave. The purpose of a boundary is not to control the other person, it is to protect yourself. However, boundaries only work when you follow through. If you say you will leave when someone yells, then you must leave. If you say you will stop responding when someone insults you, then you must stop responding. If you say you need space, then you must take that space. When you set a boundary but do not enforce it, the toxic person learns that your boundary is just a sentence. You do not need to keep explaining your boundary to someone who heard it the first time. Another way to protect yourself is to stop feeding the drama. Toxic people often pull you into emotional chaos by provoking you, accusing you, guilt-tripping you, or saying something unfair enough to make you defend yourself. But that is the trap. Once you start defending every little thing, they control the conversation. Suddenly, the issue is no longer their behavior. The issue becomes your tone, your reaction, your wording, or your emotions. This is how toxic conversations get flipped. The best response is often to stay calm and brief. You do not have to argue with every accusation. You can say, I am not arguing about this. I have already explained my decision, or I am going to step away. Peace sometimes means refusing to respond to bait. Toxic people often need your emotional reaction to keep the conflict alive. When you stop giving them that reaction, they lose power over the situation. It is also important to pay attention to how you feel around someone. Your body often notices toxicity before your mind is ready to admit it. If you feel tense when their name appears on your phone, if you rehearse what you are going to say because you fear they will twist your words, or if you feel exhausted after being around them, those are signals. Healthy relationships can have conflict, but they should not make you feel like you are constantly walking through an emotional minefield. Sometimes the healthiest answer is distance. This does not mean revenge, cruelty, or proving a point. It simply means protecting your peace. Access to you is a privilege. Your time, energy, attention, and emotional availability are valuable. When someone repeatedly abuses that access, they should not continue receiving the same level of closeness. Distance can look different depending on the relationship. It may mean fewer conversations, less personal information, limited interaction, or in extreme cases, no contact at all. One of the biggest reasons people remain connected to toxic people is guilt. They think, but I have known them for so long. But they are family. But they had a hard life, or what if leaving makes me a bad person? However, feeling guilty does not always mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes guilt is just the uncomfortable feeling that comes when you finally start choosing yourself. When you have spent years putting someone else's emotions before your own, peace can feel selfish at first. But peace is not selfish. Boundaries are not cruel. Walking away from disrespect is not betrayal. Loving someone does not mean giving them unlimited access to hurt you. You can care about someone and still protect yourself from them. You can forgive someone and still not trust them the same way. You can wish someone well and still choose distance. That is not coldness. That is maturity and self-respect. In the end, dealing with toxic people is not about becoming heartless. It is about refusing to abandon yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. You do not have to spend your life convincing someone to treat you with basic respect. Watch their patterns, protect your boundaries, stop feeding the drama, listen to how you feel around them, and choose distance when necessary. Sometimes the most powerful decision you can make is to stop giving access to the parts of you that someone keeps hurting.